Hello, and welcome to the Reykjavik Newsdesk. I'm Andie Sophia Fontaine, and these are the week's top stories in Iceland. If you like the content that you see here, be sure and like and subscribe. And if you really like the content that you see here, check out the Patreon link in the description below. And now, the week's top stories. A new poll shows that most Icelanders are now against hunting fin whales, and those numbers have been growing. A new poll from Maskina shows that 19% of Icelanders were either sort of in favor or really in favor of hunting fin whales. 51% were either sort of against or really against hunting fin whales. And another 19.7% were just kind of shruggo about the whole thing. These numbers have been increasing as well, with 10% more people against fin whaling now than were in 2019. Speaking of opposition to whaling, Björk will be amongst the attendees at a special protest demonstration against whale hunting, which is taking place tomorrow in downtown Reykjavik. This will be starting at the old Reykjavik harbor of Ægisgarður, where a lot of whale watching companies can be found, and they'll be marching all the way up to Bag Taste Records at Hjartatorg, downtown. So if you happen to be in Reykjavik tomorrow afternoon, definitely swing by there and check them out if that's the sort of thing that interests you. As it stands now, the fin whale hunt will probably go on this summer because the Minister of Fisheries has said that she does not have the legal authority to stop the hunt from happening. But whether or not she will renew the license to continue whale hunting next year, fin whale hunting that is another matter entirely. As I said before, fin whale hunting has no historic or cultural roots in Iceland. It is conducted solely by one company. Fin whale meat is not even sold in this country, and as this new poll shows, most Icelanders who have an opinion on the matter are staunchly against the continuation of fin whale hunting. So we'll see how this plays out next year. Our political leaders just gave themselves a substantial pay rise, while a lot of other workers are going on strike for living wages. Members of parliament, government ministers, and the president will see a pay rise of about 6% or more. Pay rises will also be given to police chiefs, prosecutors, and party chair people as well. By law, these pay rises are actually automatically done every July 1st, but there is past precedent for people just refusing to accept the pay rises, returning them. The president, I believe, has done this at one point in the past, and the government itself can decide to put a stop to it, to postpone it for a given year. That is something that has also happened before. With inflation being what it is in Iceland right now, and with many workers on strike just to getting a living wage, you would think that it would be like a really good PR move anyway for the government to postpone these pay rises, but they're not going to do that. These pay rises are going through anyway, and union leaders have accused them of hypocrisy. Regardless of what they get accused of, these pay rises are going forward. Nice work if you can get it, huh? North Iceland police have issued a warning to the general public to be on the lookout for a couple of folks who are going around asking for donations to charity to help deaf people, but the police suspect that these folks are just pocketing the money for themselves. The police have told the general public that these are two men of foreign origin. That's the description that they've given. They've not given any sort of estimates about their height, their weight, their hair color, any distinguishing characteristics at all. Just that they are two men of foreign origin, wherever that may be. Now, this is something that has been criticized by immigrants' rights groups and human rights groups in Iceland for years now, because of foreign origin is not a descriptor. It does not narrow down the list of suspects. It doesn't make a criminal suspect easier to apprehend or more likely to apprehend. What it does do, though, is it makes the association in people's mind between criminality and foreignness. To use an old example that was once brought up in a newspaper column many, many years ago, just imagine if the police treated sexual orientation the same way they treat foreignness. Like, say that there was a press statement saying an old woman's purse was stolen from a bus stop downtown. The suspect in this case, who is gay, is suspected to be in the downtown area, and so be on the lookout for him. If the police issued this type of statement, people would naturally be shocked and confused. Like, what does their sexual orientation have to do with it? That does not help us get any closer to catching a criminal. Furthermore, sexual orientation has nothing to do with criminality, so why even bring it up? Regardless of how many times this criticism is raised, police have continued to use national origin and of foreign origin as descriptors of criminal suspects, adding nothing more to the description. So it doesn't look like they're going to be changing this practice anytime soon, but here's hoping for better days, huh? Little Gray is ill. Now, if you've been following this story for some time, Little Gray is a part of a beluga whale pair, along with Little White. And Little Gray and Little White live in an open water sanctuary in Klettvik, South Iceland. It's a one-of-a-kind open water sanctuary. However, recently, workers there noticed that Little Gray wasn't eating very much, and so they've taken Little Gray to go through a battery of tests. They just wanted to eliminate the more serious illnesses, and we're all pulling for Little Gray to hope that it turns out everything's okay, and I don't know, maybe Little Gray just didn't feel like eating or wants a change of diet or something. Anyway, if you want to see an adorable video about the arrival of these beluga whales in Iceland, I've linked to it in the description, and it's very heartwarming, so do check it out. Alaskan lupines are out of control. As the name might suggest, Alaskan lupines are not native to Iceland. They were in fact brought here in 1945 by Hákon Bjarnason in the form of seeds that he picked up in Alaska. Lupines are very pretty, of course, and they're good at combating soil erosion, but they're also very aggressive plants that spread like wildfire, and they choke the life out of other plants, and with warming temperatures, they're spreading faster than ever, and it's getting really hard to push them back. Where someone stands on the lupin issue is usually a good indicator of from where in Iceland they are. Like, if you're from the greater Reykjavik area, you probably think of lupins as very pretty purple flowers who add splashes of color to a normally gray and brown landscape. But if you're from the countryside, you probably see lupins as a scourge that is on its way to swallow the country whole, and it must be fought at all costs. Fun fact though, some people use lupins to make a tea that reportedly has medicinal properties. How about that? In any event, that's all I have for you today at Newsdesk for the week's top stories in Iceland. However, come Monday, my video on 5 myths about Iceland debunked will finally be airing. This was a video that was decided by a viewer poll, which is on my Patreon. $15 and $20 patrons can take part in this poll where they decide what single topic I report on. This was the winner of the poll. I've been really excited to make this video because there's some myths that I keep hearing about Iceland, like no matter how many times they get debunked, they keep coming up. And I know that this video is not going to settle anything once and for all, but who knows? Maybe by making this video, if you ever hear any of these myths come up, you can just send them this video that drops on Monday and win the argument and feel very good about yourself. So look forward to that. But anyway, that's all from me. So if you like the content that you see here, be sure and like and subscribe. And if you really like the content that you see here, check out the Patreon link in the description below to see what kind of goodies you can get just by kicking a little extra coin our way. Which reminds me, I want to thank Corinne Vasquez, Marion Ward, Christopher Hunter, Marion Moores, Kimberly McDaniel, Iceman98, and Octavia Hrund Jonsdottir for being patrons on the $20 level, Laura Johnson for being a patron on the $15 level, and Stephen Ellis and Vivi Carvajal Schaffner for being patrons on the $10 level. You folks rock. That's all from me. Be good to each other.